Okay, so I've made a few changes to this build. I got rid of Stormwave, and I just move with Tempest Flurry now. I mean, this is my walking speed, and this is my Tempest Flurry speed. It's kind of insane. This is PoE1 right here. And then I'm gonna try this map. It's a tier 16. As you can see, it's got a lot of crazy stuff on it, and it's 36% delirious. And it's a boss map, and it's irradiated. So it's a tier 17 boss map. Now I might die. So let's see what happens here. um, that should be mostly okay. But again, we'll see. There might be some ailment threshold on here. I feel like I'm not shocking things very much. You guys can die whenever. Alright. It's a little clunky though, because if you get you can just really easily get stuck on walls, which is like super frustrating. But it is what it is. Also, you have to kind of be careful because sometimes it's, especially in Delirium map. Okay, see, dude, I'm getting stuck on a wall for no reason. Especially in Delirium maps, it's really hard to see a lot of the ground effects, like, and those will just fucking murder you, even with the amount of health they have. Also, I hate this layout because it's so easy to get just stuck on walls and shit. Oh, I am shocking things. Okay. Delirious map make it hard to see everything, I guess. Nope, there's nothing in there. Alright. And nothing in there. What am I stuck on? Oh, okay. The wall. Stuck on the wall. I'm always stuck on the wall. That's what it is. Yeah, always pick up uniques for the shards, and then I might get rid of that Chimera pet. It's cool, I like having a pet, but I always think it's a minion, or like a mob that is trying to kill me every time, and I've played this for hundreds of hours. Okay, come on. Here's the boss. Let's see what happens here. If he ever wants to come out. Oh, I didn't drop anything cool. Not really. I'm just gonna see if there's any more splinter or deli shards mirrored things around the map. Doesn't look like it though. Oh, I guess there was. Ooh. No, thank you, sir. One more little area to check. Nope. Also, this goes through walls. It's really sick. I don't really need a wall orb that bad. I think I just killed everything over here, yeah. Alright, was there anything over here? There's a bunch of stuff. A unique, and that's it, okay. So that's the build in a tier 17 deli map, and it did a ton of damage to that boss. So I'm having a ton of fun. This is not budget friendly in the slightest. I have 600 int, 334 dex, and 303 strength. I have this Pillar of Gods. It was like 1 divine for the 7% increase attack speed corruption, and then I did 2 soul core of Quipalotl, or however the fuck you say that, for increased attack speed. This, I don't remember exactly how much it was. I think it was like 1 or 2 divs, but it for the 10 to all Ellie res per socketed rune or soul core, and then to spirit as well. That gives me, this chest by itself gives me 60 all res. So if you look at these, I need it right now. Eventually I might be able to swap over to an even better one, which is like all attributes, like 10% all attributes per rune or soul core, and then probably keep the plus 10 spirit because I need that. This is a 21 all res. It only goes to 20, so the corruption got it to 21 um, plus the citaqualotl. There we go. For all res, this was about 5 divines, but it's got a ton of life. It's got the max life and the increased max life, and then it's got a good amount of all attributes, so it gives me 26 strength from the all attributes, but then it gives me 47 dex and 60 int, but it gives me actually a lot more than that if you like, so it gives me like 92 int and some amount, I don't want to do the math, like 40 strength and 70 dex, just because I have some increased attribute stuff. The Howa, that was like 4 divs, it's probably a little less now. I've got Ingenuity. This was like 11 divs, I think, something like that. These boots, I don't know how much they're worth now. You can't see... you can't see the overlay. I'm using the Awaken Trade thing, but there's just there are literally none like it on the market. And if you take off the 30% movement speed, there's only one, and it's like 10 divines. So this is a super good pair of boots that I was able to snag. And the rings, I think each of these were like 1 to 2 divines. One of these, this one was like 3 or 4, I think actually. So. The only thing worth less than a divine on this build might have been this. But I actually don't know how much this is with the... It might have been over divine. So every piece except for my charm and flasks were divines, or multiple divines. So super, super expensive. And then I have, all these 4 ascendancy points. So the first one, just attribute requirements can be satisfied by your highest attribute, which doesn't actually matter because you get so many attributes that you're just good. Um, this doubles intelligence, strength, and dex, what they give you. So int gives you 2 mana normally, so 4 mana per int. This gives me 2 life normally, so 4 life, and then this gives me accuracy rating. This gives me 3 additional skill slots, which seems kind of weird until you read this, because then you get max res per 4 support gems of whatever color, and so that basically this allows you to get more skill slots so that you can support more things to get more maximum resistances. I guess you could go over here to quality of all skills, and then this one 30% less cost of skills, but I don't like that's not. I don't know. I don't really. I mean, this is a level 6, I think, Tempest Flurry, and I'm doing that much damage because almost all the damage comes from Charge Staff, and you just use that once every 30 seconds. So the actual um, cost of skills thing doesn't really matter, and +1 to level evolve skills is kind of whatever too. And the other one is you can use 2 copies of the same support gem in different skills, which is it. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's not great either, so it's whatever. Um, the other one of the other expensive things on my tree is this Against the Darkness, which gives 3% of damage as extra fire damage and 4% increased intelligence, and those are both for notable passives. So right now I have this one, so that's for um, that's 14 actually, because this just inherently gives 10% increased attributes. So what is that? 22, 26% increased intelligence. And then there's some other cool tech that you can do and pick up this and this if you want. They don't really necessarily give you anything other than, um, well, this one just gives you the basically stats from Against the Darkness Time Lost Diamond, and then um, I guess this is okay for the evasion rating as extra armor, but I don't care about that. It would also just be for the Against the Darkness thing. But you can get I cannot remember what it's called right now, but there's a unique jewel that lets you allocate passives from whatever keystone. Like it rolls for different keystones, right? So you get one for Iron Reflexes, and then just allows you to take note. Like you can just allocate any nodes within that ring, um, as long as it's for Iron Reflexes. So there's like a couple different things you can do with that. But that's really the only thing that's super expensive that I've bought. There was a there was like one other jewel I had that was like really really good. This one was a divine, probably just because of the 4% damage taken from mana before life. Um, but a lot of these are like just lightning res, fire res. Oh, this one's really good. I don't know how much this would sell for. Um, but I'm guessing a couple, like, okay, at least a divine, but I just happen to have that one. I found it. Um, yeah. And then, I mean, the tree is super simple, as you can see. Like, we have this here for reduced critical damage taken, basically, and then some extra armor, EV, and strength and dex. This just lets me move faster if I've killed something recently, but I'm probably going to actually unspec these now because I don't need the movement speed since I just use Tempest Flurry. This gives me a ton of element threshold because I have a ton of dex. Um, this is just your attributes. All of these give all attributes, and then this gives 10% increased attributes, and this one is 2% increased damage per 5 of your lowest attribute. My lowest is like 300, so whatever 300 divided by 5 is I'm getting that amount of increased damage for this. This is just for blinding, and again the Against the Darkness stats. This is also for blinding and attack speed, which is nice. Lightning damage with non-critical hits is lucky. It's super good because if you look at um, the lightning damage rolls, you'll see it's 800 to 800 and 8345, 8,345. Sorry, brain stopped working for a second. And so what lucky is in this sense is it rolls the damage you do every time you do lightning damage twice, right? And then it picks the highest rolled number from that. So I haven't done the math. A lot of people have basically said it's about 30% more damage, so it's super strong. Um, and then I can probably respect these two because it gives just movement speed, but then the skill speed is probably actually super good. So I'll have to remove that and see how good that is. And this gives so we get accuracy rating and attack damage, and then 1% increased attack speed per 250 accuracy rating, which is really good. This gives increased dex and some evasion rating. This gives a ton of dex and then attack speed per dex. Over here I have this spec, which is increased attack speed with quarterstaffs, and then I'm going to go here, which is more, and then here for we don't care about really the increased accuracy rating is fine, and that'll help. That'll give me more attack speed um, from this node, but it also gives me 25 dex, which also gives me um, accuracy rating from the dex node. So this is just really good paired with this right here. Um, Here we take 50% more maximum lightning damage. So that, again, if we look at this right here, what it does is it just gives 15% more of the highest number, which is really good with the double roll of the lucky down here. Then I come over here and get resonance so that I can get power charges. I'm sure you know the tech. This is just lightning damage really, and then they gain 1 rage on melee hit, which is really nice. This gives me 8% of damage just taken from mana before life and some int. So that gives me effectively more health, because if I get hit for say 100 damage, then 8 of that damage comes from my mana and 92 goes to my health, which is really good. We have more of that. I think in total we have like 30 because we have 4, 4, 8, which is 16, and then we have I got a re-anoint because I just bought a new amulet, but I'm gonna do this, which is 26, and then is it this one, and then this, which is 4, so 30%. So now if I take 100 damage, 30 of it goes to mana, and then 70 goes to life. So it's really good, and I regenerate a lot of mana because I have because I have a lot of mana. I took these nodes for 2 reasons. The 20% increase freeze buildup, and then this gives me 50% increased damage with hits against frozen enemies, so that increases my damage even more. And this one allows us to ignore all non-negative elemental resistances of frozen enemies. So I don't really need much penetration because I freeze things pretty easily. And then bosses can take a little bit longer to go down, so usually depending on the boss I'm not going to kill them in one freeze, but that's fine. I do enough damage that I can either freeze them again or they're not that big of an issue. This just gives 25 int, and then okay, so this one's interesting. So this gives me a bunch of increased fire damage, and then I gain 8% of damage as extra fire damage and 20 fire res, which is really good. So this plus this means I do a bunch of fire damage, which is really important because of how the 3 dragons work. So fire damage from hits contributes to shock chance instead of ignite chance, right? So, and that's also how I freeze, is the lightning damage contributes to freeze instead of shock. So what shock does is it increases the damage that a monster takes. And so I have some gems and stuff that increase the magnitude of shocks that my stuff inflicts, which means they take even more damage. I think baseline is like 20%, but I haven't checked, but I might go up to like 35 to 40% extra damage, roughly. So that's why I do the fire damage stuff. Cool. I said a lot, so sorry. So I've got to remember to do this, which is, it's not super expensive. Ire, Disgust, and Greed. Um, and then as far as skills, I have two six-linked skills, which I did not use Perfect Jewelers on. You can corrupt your. I didn't 20 quality that, which I should have, but it's fine. It's whatever. Um, the corruption though gave me the six link. So you use your lesser jewelers, your greater jewelers, and then you corrupt, hoping to hit a six link. It's a little expensive, but it's not too bad. This one I did quality, so that's awesome. That just gives me increased duration. Um, I should go with the support kills. Okay. So Tempest Flurry, we have Rage. Rage is awesome because Rage, if I remember right, gives you attack damage and um, oh, is it just attack damage, not attack speed anymore? Okay. Yep, that's PoE 1. So PoE 1 Rage gave you damage and speed, but this one just gives you more attack damage. March Tempo, just 25% more attack speed. Culling Strike, which is really good because um, depending on the type of monsters, it basically reduces their life. So for normal enemies, their life is reduced by 30%, magic is 20, and then rare is 10, and uniques are 5. And that's just because when they're at 5% or less, they just die when you hit them. For like bosses, for example. So that's how that works. And it only so this one only works for rare unique enemies, which means 10% or 5% respectively. Ice Bite, just whenever you freeze, you get 35% more damage as cold, which is awesome. It just gives you a ton of damage at all times. And it has an interaction with Tempest Spell. So Tempest Spell, you can apply ailments to them. So you can freeze, shock, and ignite them. So whenever you hit the Tempest Spell with lightning damage, you will freeze it. And that will account for Ice Bite as well, which is really nice. But it also counts for freezing enemies for your Combat Frenzy, which is super sick. And then Bullseye, just more accuracy rating. I'm not sold on this. I've not really had any issues hitting anyone, but it does allow me to attack significantly faster, I think, because, accuracy gives me attack speed. So it's a little bit like another martial tempo, but if I take this off, I'm attacking it it's slightly slower, I think. It's kind of hard to notice because I'm just moving so fast. But it does deal 2,000 less DPS, so take that for what you will, I suppose. For charge staff, I'm running Lightning Pin. Excuse me. Just penetrate lightning res. Execute. So when they're on low life, deal 40% more damage. Low life, I think, is less than 35% of maximum life, which is, yep, okay. Close combat. You're almost always in range for this, which is like 1 meter, you do 25% more attack damage, and then as you get further and further away, you do less and less damage. 3.5 meters or further, you do no bonus at all, but it's whatever. And then Rising Tempest, supported skills deal 12% more elemental damage for each skill used recently of a different elemental type. Which I saw this on, I watched Ali, and so I'm actually not sure why you do this what I'm thinking is that because Charge Staff, for whatever reason, even though it does lightning damage, it doesn't actually have an elemental type to it. So how I think this works is I do lightning attacks with Tempest Flurry, which shoot out Charge Staff, and that gets the 12% more elemental damage because Tempest Flurry is lightning and Charge Staff has no element. That's what I think's happening there. For Tempest Spell, I do run Conk Effect, mostly because I'm basically just using it for single target, so I don't need it to have a large AoE, and it gives a ton of damage. Overabundance, so that while I am attacking the boss, I don't have to wait for my Tempest Spell to go away before I build up the combo for the next spell, basically. A Lightning Exposure applies Lightning Exposure whenever you shock an enemy, and how Lightning Exposure just reduces their resistances to lightning. What is it, 20%? Overcharge Again, this is so I told you I had something that increases the magnitude of shock. This is one of the things that does it. We don't really care about the less shock duration because we'll be shocking them pretty constantly. I have Herald of Ice and Herald of Thunder, so this is pretty important. And it looks like Herald of Ice is not working right now. That is a lie, and I'm completely abusing a bug or a glitch for now. If, well, I guess when it gets patched, I can just, so this should only take 30 spirit, and I'll just get rid of Vitality, which takes 20, and I'll just turn on Herald Ice. So I'm not super worried about that. So Herald of Ice and Herald of Thunder have an interesting interaction where Herald of Ice will cause enemies that are frozen to shatter, dealing an AoE explosion, but it itself cannot freeze enemies. It can, however, shock enemies, right? So then Herald of Thunder active gives you a buff that basically shoots down lightning bolts on enemies whenever you shock them. So whenever your Herald of Ice explodes and shocks enemies, you will get Herald of Thunder stacks. When Herald of Thunder comes down and hits enemies, it will freeze them, and then they will explode, and then so you get this like effect of always having shock stacks or almost always having shock stacks, so that whenever you attack near an enemy, it rains down shocks on them, which cause them to freeze. Then they die, explode, and shock other enemies that are around, causing you to have Herald of Thunder stacks, which then you're attacking super fast. So it ends up clearing screens, which you didn't really see in that tier 16 map as much. So I think there was some element threshold or something, or maybe it was just like the effects weren't as noticeable because it was a delirious map, which delirious maps kind of suck for visual clarity anyway. Um, so how I make this work is I add Fire Infusion to Herald of Ice, which because of my Three Dragons masks, fire is what actually shocks because fire contributes to shock. And then I have Coursing Current, so this spreads the shocks whenever enemies get shocked. Primal Armament just makes it deal more damage, and Cold Mastery to give it an extra level. I should probably level these both up, because I didn't know they were so low level. Let me see if I have any right now. Where's the Spirit? So I already have that equipped. And then where is Herald of Ice? Right here. So we'll just do that really quick. Cool. So now they're both 18. This one, we'll both eventually get them to like at least level 19. Level 20 gems are really hard to come by. I think you have to have a level 82 area to possibly get them, and skill gems are already reasonably rare. So that is what it is. Sorry, slight tangent. For Herald of Thunder, I have Lightning Infusion just to make it deal more lightning damage. I have Long Shot, which again at more damage. It's just at long range. It's the opposite of close combat, basically. Innervate, so this whenever you shock an enemy, I think it's on killing a shocked enemy rather. Sorry, you just get 35% more damage as lightning. So this is the same thing as Ice Bite, but for the lightning for the lightning status effect. And then Shock Siphon, which just allows you to have some form of recovery. You can probably put something else in here. This is just a nice little extra recovery boost, basically. Hand of Chayula is really good because it's a teleporting attack, so it's like Shattering Palm, for example. But when you hit an enemy with it, it applies all your curses and marks. So you can mark and curse an enemy. In order to have a second curse, there's this keystone right here, Whispers of Doom. So with Hand of Chayula, you don't actually have to wait for your curse to activate. It just immediately activates, so the double activation delay doesn't matter, which is super awesome. So you just get you can apply an additional curse. So I could potentially make this a 4-link, spend 1 point to get that and do that. And I'm thinking about doing a weapon swap to pick up some of these curse effect nodes, so that I can, because conductivity, for example, reduces their lightning res, but if I get curse effect, then that -36 to lightning res will go up. So I need to play around with that. I need to figure out how I would change my tree, and then just set this to this. I would basically set this to only use weapon 2, and I would still use it. It would just swap to my curse weapon, and then when I go back to Tempest Flare, it would auto swap. So um, I'll have to think about like how I want to set my tree up to do that, but I just haven't needed it yet. Combat Frenzy is Combat Frenzy. That's what gets you your. That's that with Resonance is how you get your power charges, and then I have Profusion so that I guess half the time I get 2 charges instead of 1. I have Cannibalism. That's some recovery for when I kill things, and Vitality, just passive life regen. I have Grim Feast, which is one of the most busted skills in the game. I probably should level it up too. I didn't realize it was level 7. And then I think quality gives it more energy shield, so I could just throw 2 more GCPs on it to get another 10 energy shield, and then level it up. I think will give even more. So that's what that is. I have an empty skill slot. I need to put something here. I know what it is. I just haven't done it because I'm lazy and don't really need it yet. And then I just have these 3 here. No, the skills don't actually matter, neither do the supports. The only thing that matters is um, they're all red supports. So for every 4 of these, I have 1% increased max fire res. So that's how I have 79, and I'll probably add 1 more, get 3 more so that I can go up to 80 max fire res. Um, and I think that's it. I think that's the whole build. It's a pretty expensive build, but it's super fun. It zooms very fast. It's certainly going to get nerfed. They're going to talk about it tomorrow, which I'm bummed about because I spent so much money and time farming this. We'll see how bad it gets nerfed, though. Maybe it'll still be playable and still do insane amount of damage, especially considering how much investment it takes to get to this kind of damage. So, um, yeah, that's the build. I think I went over everything. I didn't really plan this out. I didn't even mean to make a build video guide. I was just gonna do a map showcase. And there's plenty of other creators who have done this. So I'm like, like Ali, for example, is who I followed for a lot of this. I don't know what all the other creators are, or what all other creators have done this build, but that's where I'm at with it right now. There's a couple other upgrades that I might make, but I'm not buying anything else for this build until the stream tomorrow that tells us, which builds are on the nerfing block or whatever, or if there are going to be build nerfs. I'm not even sure that there will be, but I suspect there will, so we'll see. But yeah, that's the build. Hope it was informative, and have a good rest of your day.